This video is specially made for Monzon Media and Isaac Adventure. Thanks for your recommendation, and thanks for your support in watching. Check out Monzon Media if you want to level up on your YouTube channel, as well as any social media graphics. If you want to escape the everyday life, check out Isaac Adventure as he chronicles his adventures of van life while traveling through Europe. If you have a sweet tooth like me, then you probably love caramels. I love chewy caramel specifically for the lovely texture as well as the great flavors. Stick around to the end of this video as I show you how to make the perfect chewy caramel. I always enjoy making these caramels because they are buttery and rich with perfect texture. They are delectable, they melt in your mouth, and it always smells amazing in the house when you cook caramels. My neighbors always know when I'm making this caramel as the aromas waft down the street. Combine the cream, sugar, honey, corn syrup, and salt in the pan. Stir the ingredients in the pan to combine and cook over medium heat until the caramel reaches 115 degrees Celsius. This should take approximately 20 to 25 minutes. For the ingredients, I'm using a flavorful honey from the apiary at my family farm. I'm also using a homemade vanilla extract. Using the best ingredients will always yield the best results. I enjoy using this caramel with other confectionery recipes. It's perfect if you want to make your own Twix bar. As well, add it with nuts and you can make great nut caramel clusters. Occasionally stir the sides and the bottom of the caramel pan. Keep the sides of the pan clean, preventing any sugar crystals from forming. Any sugar crystals on the side of the pan can interfere with the structure of your chewy caramel. Next, add the butter and continue to cook until the temperature reaches 122 degrees Celsius. Use a good quality butter that is at room temperature. I like to use a good French butter in this case, as the flavors are fantastic and it's a higher fat content. And fat is good. Just like anything good, enjoy in moderation. Once the butter is added, the temperature of the caramel will drop. Continue cooking until the temperature reaches its desired stage. I like to test the set of the caramel by placing a small sample of the caramel in a bowl of cold water. Remove the caramel from the water to test the set. If the caramel is soft but just retains its shape, that is a good sign that the caramel is going to be a lovely chewy consistency. Add the vanilla and give the pan a good swirl. Be careful when adding vanilla to a hot pan, as the vanilla may boil and spit in contact with the hot caramel. By adding the vanilla at the end of the caramel cooking stage, we are retaining the beautiful aromas of this floral vanilla. Instead of pouring the finished caramel into a lined container, I am preparing my work surface for forming and cooling the caramel. I placed a sheet of parchment paper onto my work surface, and I'm using 4 aluminum caramel rods to form a rectangle shape of approximately 10 by 14 inches. Of course, if you don't have caramel rods, you can also use a baking tray lined with paper. Pour the caramel and allow to set. It will take a few hours, so leave the caramel undisturbed to properly set before cutting into it. Once the caramel is cooled, it is time to cut. I'm using a small offset palette knife to loosen the caramel rods. Because of the butter in the caramel, the rods will release easily. Slide the caramel onto the cutting board and remove the caramel rods. Use a lightly oiled knife to cut your caramels. I am using an accordion cutter to mark and cut the caramels into my desired widths. Accordion cutters come with rotary wheels. They usually come in sets of 5 to 6 wheels per unit. As the name implies, the accordion cutter will expand so you can control the width of your cutting. I've left a link in the description for this as well as other tools that I use. When cutting the caramel, you can also chill the caramel briefly. By briefly chilling the caramel, I will have a cleaner cut line. To wrap the caramels, use pieces of waxed paper. You can purchase confectionery wax paper to do this job. Place a piece of caramel onto the center of the wax paper. Next, wrap the caramel in the paper. To twist the paper, locate the space between the caramel and the edge of the paper. Now twist the paper to wrap. This will prevent the paper from ripping while wrapping. To enhance this chewy caramel, sprinkle sea salt onto the surface of the caramel. You can also dip the pieces of caramel in chocolate to make chocolate-covered caramels. This is a lovely chewy caramel. One of my favorite characteristics of a good chewy caramel is seeing the pull. Look at the caramel pleasantly stretch as I pull it. This is a fantastic caramel. Do you have a favorite confection and always wondered how it's made? Let me know in the comments. In the meantime, if you are interested in learning more about confections, watch this playlist. YouTube also recommends this video.